A tragic heist gone wrong, or was it all part of a chilling scheme to transform into a deadly Black Widow? Today, we are covering the case of Janet Karamana, who was accused and later sentenced for the death of her husband, Moses Mbaabu. Hi guys, how's everyone doing? It's been so long, and today's case, it's a complicated one with a lot of unanswered questions, but to understand everything, let's start from the beginning. So, Moses Mbaabu was married to Janet Karamana. Together, the couple had two kids, a girl and a boy. And financially, the family was doing okay. The husband worked at the Central Bank of Kenya, while the wife ran their businesses. Together, they had a bar or a club, and they also had a salon. The husband had bought the wife a car so she could be able to move around, run the businesses, pick the kids, the usual. While the husband also had another car. I'm guessing the bigger car, yeah. The couple lived in Garden Estate together with their kids, the girl and the boy. The girl had just finished Form 4 and the brother was quite older than the girl, so the kids were grown at this point. And growing up, the kids never had the parents fight. The parents were just like normal parents, I want to say, loving and devoted to their kids, and they never really fought. The son actually said, like, if anything happened, I know parents hide stuff from their kids, but if it was to get to the point of murder and stuff like that, they definitely would have seen something or maybe see someone being beat up and stuff like that, but nothing ever happened. They never quarreled, nothing. So it was crazy when, on the night of 23rd October of 2009, Moses Mbaabu was murdered right at his doorstep. On this fateful day, Janet was at the salon, and she was with the girls that work there. And around evening time, there was a client at the salon, so she was sort of like, let's say, the manager, so she'd just sit there and not do the work. So someone was getting their hair done, a neighbor. So the neighbor offered to give Madam Janet a lift. But Janet said, no, I can't go home right now because I'm waiting for a fundi. So at about 7:45 p.m., when there's no more clients, the saloonist leaves. But Janet is left behind because she's waiting for this fundi to come and check the light. And also, I think there was a leaking roof too. So she was waiting for this fundi. At this point, it's almost 8 p.m. Someone had offered to give her a ride, a neighbor, but she said no, she was waiting for a fundi because I think her car was at the garage because it had mechanical problems, so the car needed to be fixed and the light also needed to be fixed. So she was going to wait for this fundi, and then later on she'd take a taxi or just walk home. Now, what confuses me about this part is that it's 2 kilometers from the salon to her house, like in the estate. It's 2 kilometers from there. But then they claim it's a 15-minute walk. Maybe I just walk too slow, or I don't know what 2 kilometers is, because I feel like 2 kilometers is a lot. Can people actually walk 2 kilometers in 15 minutes? I don't know. But okay, actually, there was a shortcut, but I don't know. Even for a shortcut, I feel like 15 minutes is very kidogo. Anyway, so at about 8 p.m., she actually closes up the salon. So maybe the fundi didn't come by because at 7:45, the fundi had not come by. So at 8 p.m., she closes up and she decides to take this back route to her home. There's two routes. There's one route that goes through the gate to the estate, and at the gate, there's the security officers that, you know, check people in and out, those that are coming with cars and stuff like that. But there's also a back road that does not go through the main gate to the estate. And I guess since she decided to walk, she decided to take the back route, which was a shortcut. So on her way home, she calls her son. They had this norm where she'd call the son, and the son would come from the house, and she was coming like the other way, and they'd meet somewhere between. They'd meet so the son would walk her home. It took me so many words to explain that. So she calls the son and tells the son, I have closed up, so I am on my way there. You can start getting ready to come and meet me on the road. So the son is getting ready to come and meet the mom, not literally getting ready, but just like being mentally ready that he needs to go and pick the mom or meet the mom on the way. While Janet is walking, there's two men in front of her, but she doesn't mind them. It's 8 p.m., everyone is going home, so she just keeps on walking. But after a while, she catches up with these two men. When she catches up with them, they stop and they turn to her, and then suddenly, two men also come from behind, and so it was four men, and they rob her of the 27,000 Kenyan shillings that she had collected from the salon. They also take her phone. And then they start telling her, today we're going with you to your home. We want your husband. Your husband is supposed to pay us 3 million Kenyan shillings and stuff like that. So one of the men had a gun, while the other one had something in a paper, in a carrier bag. So she goes with these men, she follows them. So it's four men against one person, I mean. But then it seems like these men didn't know where her home was, because they think she has to lead them to her home. So they take this back road na wanatembea, wawili wako mbele yake, wawili nyuma yake. So she's walking with them, and on reaching the gate to her home, her gate had, I think there were two pillars that had sunk, so there was a wide gap at the gate, so the gate wouldn't lock well. So they just get in, so they didn't need anyone to open the gate for them. And on getting to the door, inside the house, there was the son, the husband's cousin, and the house girl. So they see them through the glass window of the living room, and the husband's cousin, so their relative that was at the home, anaenda anawafungulia mlango. So kufunguliwa mlango, the woman came inside, because let's call them thugs. So one of the thugs alikuwa amenok and moved to the side. So the relative opened the door, and the thugs just pushed Janet inside. So getting inside, it's a whole commotion. You know how thugs work. So they take the whole family, and they're all crammed into a bathroom, and Madam Janet is left in the living room for a while. So one of the thugs is left to guard the door to the bathroom, where they put the son, the relative, and the house girl. And then they come back. They actually slapped either the son or the house girl while forcing them to like lay down and go to the bathroom, stuff like that. But Janet is left in the living room, kidogo, with them. So after a while, she joins the rest in the bathroom. When Jane comes to the bathroom, she's definitely panicking. Her son is here, their relative, their house girl, and there's these people that are demanding 3 million Kenyan shillings. So they go upstairs and they're rummaging through the bedroom, and they can just hear them moving around the house while this one is guarding the door. So this whole time they're asking Janet, when is your husband coming home? And she says he'll be home at around 11 p.m. Mind you, this is like 8:30 p.m. I didn't know thugs are this patient. It's 8:30 p.m. and they're being told that the husband will come at around 11 p.m. So this whole time they're just moving around the house and rummaging through stuff like that. So while they were at the bathroom, one of the thug comes back inside at around 12 a.m. So this whole time they're just there in the bathroom. So one comes and asks the thug that was at the door, wapigie waulize wamefika wapi. And so this other person calls, and he tells the rest of the thugs that wamesema wamefika Thika, wanakuja. So naturally, everyone in this situation, the whole family thought like it's more thugs that are coming, stuff like that, because it's just a phone conversation, but they don't know who's being called or who's being asked where they are or why they are coming. They don't know. So the family just keeps on staying there, and at some point they tell the family to undress. So this thug just shouts, "Toeni nguo, lalini chini," in the bathroom. And the whole time Janet is sitting on the toilet cover. So she's seated down while everyone else is lying on the floor in the bathroom. So they tell them, "Toeni nguo," but Janet tells the thug, like, no, it's very cold, they can't remove their clothes. And for some reason the thug just says, "Okay, then don't remove your clothes." Later on in the night, like somewhere at around 1 a.m., the thug removes his gun. I don't know, maybe they were acting up. You can imagine being in a situation like this for hours, like you just are in that bathroom with these thugs. So maybe someone was acting up, I don't know. But at some point they threatened to shoot them. And again, Janet told them, no, you can't shoot them. You can't shoot us. And for some reason, the thugs just put away their gun and did not shoot them. So at this point, the whole thing is becoming suspicious. Like, why are the thugs listening to the person they're holding captive? So yeah, that's up to you to conclude what you want to conclude. Maybe she was just persuasive, or maybe they felt bad for her. At some point, one of the thugs actually removes a panga and starts sharpening it on the wall. And definitely, I cannot imagine the fear that these people must have felt. Just seeing someone sharpen a panga on the wall, and you crammed in this bathroom for hours. And to make matters worse, they're waiting for the father, so they're waiting for him to arrive. And sure enough, at about 1:46 a.m., he checks in at the gate, and he's given a gate pass. And they can actually hear him park his car and come upstairs. So he parks and then comes up the stairs. So there's the garage, like the home garage, and there's the stairs that open at the parents' bedroom door. So he's right, like, at the door of his bedroom when the whole family that was in the bathroom just hears a scream. You know, that chilling scream when you know, like, yeah, they finally got him. So he screams, and there's this whole altercation, and they were sure he was dead. So a few minutes later, the thugs come into the bathroom, and it's said that they tell Madam Janet, why do I keep saying Madam? They tell Janet that they had finished the job. So they take her and demands that she drives them away. So they go and get into the husband's car, and they drive through the main gate. So when they drive through the estate's like entrance gate, they have to give back the gate pass to the security guards at the gate. So when she was slowing down, while she was slowing down, one of the thugs asks, like, "Why are you slowing down? Why are you stopping? Just drive." And one of them, like the one seated at the passenger seat, like next to her, had a pocket knife, and he was pointing it at her, while the ones at the back had a gun, and they were pointing the gun at her. So she was panicking at this point, and she did not want to die. Like, she had seen her husband, like, while they were forcing her out, she had seen her husband, and so she knew that this was not going to be a joke. Like, if I do something, if I try to raise alarm, they might kill me. So she was complying, and they told her, if you have to give the gate pass, then just crack the window a little bit and just give the thing and go. So she gives back the gate pass to the security guard and just drives off. And so they demand that she drives on Thika Road, and at Juja, when they go to Juja is like on the way to Thika from Kasarani. So at Juja, they alight the car and disappear into thin air. So Janet is left there with her husband's car, and she has to make the tough choice of whether to go back and check on her husband and her kid and her family, or go to the police station. And so she decides, instead of going back to Kasarani, she's going to drive to Thika and report there. Well, actually, there was a police station at Juja. So she drives all the way to Thika. You know, you can't judge someone in this situation unless you've been in her exact same position. So she drives to Thika and parks at a petrol station. So she explains the whole situation to this petrol station attendant, and the person just takes them to the police station, and they actually leave the car at the petrol station and they go to the police. So she goes to the police and explains this whole thing. She was coming from work, and these 4 men just led her to her home and held them captive and killed her husband later on when he came back at around 2 a.m. So this point is like 3:55 a.m. It's almost like morning the next day. Okay, it's already morning. So the police take a statement from her, and then one of the policemen is asked to take her to the nursing home so that she can get like treatment for shock. So she's taken to the hospital, and she tells this policeman that she had left her car at the petrol station. So this policeman leaves to go and look for the car. So she's left alone. But the policeman couldn't find the car at any petrol station. And later on, he came back to the police station. On coming back to the police station, he finds Janet there and the car there. So she had already been discharged from the hospital, which she went to at like 4 a.m. And she was already discharged and back at the police station. Apparently, while at the hospital, she had called a neighbor. So the neighbor had informed the police at Kasarani. So the police had come and processed for her to be discharged. So they went back to the police station so she could be cleared from there, and they took her and the car and the case now, and they moved back to Kasarani. So at around 10 a.m., she's brought back to Kasarani. A neighbor comes and picks her, and they come back to Kasarani. So actually on the next day, the saloonist was opening at around 7 a.m. She was going to open the business when she was told that her boss's husband had been killed. So she didn't open, and she went to check on them. And that's when Janet arrived back in Kasarani at around 10 a.m. the next day. And so during this time, she finds that her husband had actually not died. And the son and the relative, the husband's cousin that was in the house, they had taken him to hospital. So the police are trying to interview them, just trying to understand what happened, how it happened, at what time. And they definitely had to collect the register book. How to call it? It's not a registry. The book at the gate. And so they check for who came in, who went out, and they found at 8:19 p.m. a car with a registration number that, okay, I'll just put the registration number on the screen. So this car comes into the compound, but then the checkout time is 8:17 p.m. So this car left 2 minutes after it arrived. So they need to find this car. They need to find who came in. The car was traced to a totally different person. So when this person was found, they said, I'm the owner of the car, but the car has never left my compound in the whole month of October. So this was a fake registration number that the guard at the gate had recorded. This car was never there, but this car had been recorded at the gate to have come in at around 8:19 p.m. and left at 8:17 p.m., which definitely does not make sense. And this was around the same time that Janet was leading the thugs to the house. Again, at 1:46 a.m., the husband checks in. So he's given the gate pass. The gate pass is number 255. But then later on, like 34 minutes later, when Janet is driving the thugs out of the compound with the husband's car, you remember when she gave the gate pass away? The gate pass was 2:57. Okay, that's what was recorded. The gate pass is recorded as 2:57, and the driver is recorded as Moses. While we know it definitely couldn't be Moses, because at this time he had already been beat up, and the wife was the one that was driving the car, because he was driving these thugs that had abducted her, and so she's the one that gave away the gate pass. But the gate man recorded the driver to be the husband. You could say maybe he did not see who it was, since she only cracked the window a little bit to give it away. But then the gate pass that the husband had was 2:55, but the wife gave away to 57. That's what they recorded. So that was not adding up. And at this point, this gate man is also looking suspicious. Why is this fake car that came in at 8:19 and left at 8:17? While maybe we can say that the gate man did not see the drive of the car, but he recorded a different gate pass for the same car, like when it went in and went out 34 minutes later. Who knows if he saw the person driving the car was a woman? Nobody knows. Okay, Janet says since definitely there are thugs in the car, she did not wait for them to record anything. As soon as she gave them that gate pass, she was out. So they drove to Juja and then they disappeared there, and she goes to Thika, and that's how the whole thing unfolded, and that's what the police have at this point. But definitely they had to continue doing their investigation. So during the investigations, they discovered that simu ya Janet na simu ya the house girl had been stolen during this whole thing. So simu zao, they had to be tracked or traced. Okay, they recover the phones definitely, like through whatever ways they use. I think they use the network providers to like track down the phone and stuff like that. So anyway, the phones are tracked down, and if I tell you, it's a whole story. Like if you go through the court documents, these phones were passed to 1 million people. Like this person bought it from this person, then this person bought it from this person, then this person. Yeah, just don't buy phones. Don't buy like second-hand phones. Don't buy phones from people because they could land you in trouble. So yeah, these 2 phones are recovered, and it's just this was stolen from here, and this was bought from this, and this was. It's a whole. I can't even begin to list the names of the people that were found with these phones. So a whole bunch of people are found with these 2 phones, and they traced them back to whoever had it first. And so while tracing them to the first person that actually sold the phone, or the person that can't tell where they got the phone from, this was going to be a suspect. They had to have been there. Like that's why they have the phone. So at this point, Janet is a suspect, is definitely their prime suspect at this point. Number 2 suspect is the gate man. Okay, they thought that maybe the gate man had been given some money to let the thugs in and allow them to come inside of the estate. So yeah, he was the second suspect in this case. At this point, it's an attempted murder case because the husband was still at the hospital. The third suspect, or the third accused person, was a man, Clement. I hope that's the name. I'm going to put it on the screen if it's wrong. In total, by the time this case got to court, there was about 7. Yeah, there was about 7 accused persons, and one of them was Janet, the gate man, and these other people that are associated with the phones. So during the court case, prosecution was arguing that this was not a robbery gone wrong, because first of all, they only stole the 27,000 Kenyan shillings that Janet had. If they wanted 3 million from the husband, why did they never ask it from him? They only just killed him when he got... Okay, not killed him. They thought they killed him when he got there. Like, if they just wanted money and they were just regular robbers, why didn't they ask him for money? They had held this family captive for hours just because they wanted money, and when the husband got there, they didn't ask for money. They just killed him. So this was suspicious. Like, what did they want? Were they just there to kill the husband and leave? Why didn't they hurt anyone else? Why were they listening to Janet whenever he told them to calm down when they were trying to do stuff at the house? And so yeah, and Janet argued that she had never fought with her husband. She had no reason to kill her husband or any of the things that she was being accused of. And the son actually says that even if the mom wanted to do something, he'd not risk to traumatize him like that and do it in his presence. But then what I found interesting, during the court case, the son is actually a prosecutor's witness, whatever. Like, he's a witness for the prosecution and not for the defendant. Maybe at the time he believed what people said, and people saying that she wanted to kill him. I don't know. But at this point, the husband is actually released from hospital, he's discharged from the hospital, but his family keeps him away from the wife because they believe she tried to kill him. So she actually never saw the husband during this time. Unfortunately, on the 3rd of March 2010, so a few months after the whole thing, he unfortunately passed away from complications. And so the charges were going to move from attempted murder they were going to up them to murder charges. So Janet now is being considered the Black Widow since the husband had passed from complications, and the defendants tried to argue that he did not die from the beating and everything that happened on the 23rd October of 2009. He died from appendicitis, stuff like that. And so they had to do postmortems. They had to bring in like specialists to confirm like what really killed him. And so eventually it was concluded that he was okay before all this happened, and since this happened and he was in the hospital, he had memory loss. They actually tried to interview him at the hospital, but this couldn't work since he had lost memory and he had just become sick after this whole thing. I actually find it absurd to claim that this beating that he took did not lead to his death months later, while it had caused him memory loss. It had caused him complications. He had been in hospital for months before he was discharged. Yeah, and even his co-workers could attest that he was okay before this, and he was working, and he was a healthy man before this. So anyway, now they're charged with murder, and they go to court, and that's when all the details about the gate man and his suspicions, and the whole different numbers on the gate pass, and this car that came in and left 2 minutes before it came in that actually never existed. So there's been many theories. So now let's get into the theories. And they say that she couldn't have done it, and they're sure it's not their mom. And the mom says, no, it's not her. She'd have never killed her husband. She loved her husband. But then there's all this evidence. It was just a crazy evening, and things were just not working out, because why was she waiting for a fundi, and the saloonist left at 7:45 p.m. and she closed up at 8 p.m. So within 15 minutes, did that fundi come and fix this thing within such a short time? Why was he coming at night? And apparently her car was found to be okay. Her car did not have any mechanical problems. So why couldn't she drive her car? Why was she walking? So she met this man. It's crazy all around. And sometimes you want to believe the family members, because we could speculate all we want, but these kids grew up with these people. If you told me that someone I've known for my whole life is not who they are, and you want to claim you know them more than I do, I'd be offended. So sometimes you want to believe the family and believe that maybe it was not her, maybe it was just a normal robbery gone wrong. But then what did they rob? I don't know. It's not been reported of anything really valuable that they lost at the house, except for the phones. So I don't know. What do you think about the whole case? Do you think it was her, or do you think it was a robbery gone wrong? All in all, our condolences to the family of Moses Mbaabu, and I hope that the kids and all their loved ones have managed to live a good life. In the end, it's a total loss for real, because they lost both of their parents. So yeah, anyway, that's the end of today's case. I'll see you on the next one. So yeah, bye. Also, I'm actually working on a new background. Yeah, I'm working on a better background. I don't want it to be such a plain wall like this. Yeah, I'll move from this corner Also, I'm going to find a better camera. I need to stop using this phone TikTok camera thing. Yeah, anyway, please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you enjoy the videos. Not like really enjoy, like if you want to see more of the videos. Yeah, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like, share, and all of that good stuff. Bye. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.